Okay, today, unfortunately, we had some sad news from the world of F1. The passing of former team owner Eddie Jordan, who famously ran the Jordan F1 team in the 80s, 90s, and into the 2000s. The ultimate underdog and the ultimate maverick in regards to team ownership, and he did unearth some talents. He had some very talented future and past world champions drive for his little privateer team. Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill, for example, drove for the Jordan F1 team. Giancarlo Fisichella drove for the Jordan F1 team. So Heinz Harald Frentzen, another very well regarded F1 driver in the 90s, drove for him. So he had some very talented drivers drive for him. In fact, he was the team owner that unearthed Michael Schumacher and gave Michael Schumacher his shot at F1 before Benetton and Flavio Briatore got their hands on him, and ultimately Ferrari. And at that time, you had like McLaren were a top dog, Williams were a top dog, obviously Ferrari, much bigger teams with much deeper pockets, and he competed against them. And while Jordan never won any constructors championships or F1 titles, they were a fun team to watch. They were a fun team on the grid, which has gone through several iterations since Eddie Jordan sold them on. After selling his F1 team, he obviously got involved in the media, becoming a commentator and a pundit with F1 coverage, giving that unique insight into team ownership and the dynamics of how a team works with its drivers and its engineers, and how a team would run, giving his opinion on the BBC and Channel 4 with their F1 coverage for many years. Later on, he would involve himself with TV presenting with Top Gear. Not the most memorable stint for him, but it was a risk he was willing to take, and he didn't come across quite as well as a natural TV presenter. In that regard, it didn't fit. It didn't work, and that was a shame, because his wealth of knowledge and experience in the world of motorsport, it could have worked had the format been slightly different. But he still was willing to take the risk and do TV presenting, which was a little bit, I think, outside of his comfort zone. But he still gave it a shot. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. But even right up till the end, he was involved in some formal capacity in the world of sport. Most recently, in the last few weeks, literally involved with a consortium trying to resurrect London Irish as a professional rugby union club, and get them readmitted to the Gallagher Premiership. He was leading a consortium that were trying to get them back into the world of professional rugby union. The amateur London Irish club still exists, but he was actively involved in trying to resurrect London Irish, so he was still very active towards the end. And of course, he had his own band that used to play at the Silverstone British Grand Prix every year. So he was a very accomplished drummer and amateur musician as well. So he was a man of many talents. We will do a career video on Eddie Jordan. I think he deserves that. He was a fantastic character, a bit of a maverick and the ultimate underdog, but it is with sad news that he sadly lost his battle with cancer aged 76. So there we go. There's a little brief tribute to Eddie Jordan. I mean, I have very fond memories of the Jordan F1 team in the 90s and the 2000s. I actually have some Jordan memorabilia. They released a set of model die-cast cars. I think all the F1 teams did, but the Jordan one always stands out with me for the Benson Hedges sponsorship, Be On Edge, and just that iconic yellow and black car with the snake's head on the nose. It was iconic, the Jordan F1 liveries that they had, especially the Benson and Hedges and DHL yellow and black liveried cars of the 90s and the 2000s. Absolutely iconic. And it's something that sticks with me as a fan of motorsport, even now. What an iconic car, with that Mugen Honda engine as well. It was just an iconic car. And he was a bit of an icon and a bit of a maverick and the ultimate underdog. But remember this, without Eddie Jordan, you don't get Michael Schumacher's entry into F1 when he did. He was the guy who gave Michael Schumacher his shot in F1 before he ends up at Benetton, and ultimately with Ferrari, where he would win those world championships, 2 with Benetton and 5 with Ferrari, and break records. Eddie Jordan was the guy who discovered Michael Schumacher. So without Eddie Jordan, you don't get Michael Schumacher getting his entry into F1 when he did. So there we go. There's a brief video on Eddie Jordan. The career video will follow later on. I will have to do a lot of research into Eddie Jordan because he's got a very, very colourful career in motorsport and team ownership and involvement with F1, amongst other things. And he was still actively involved, in the world of sport right up until the very end. I mean, as I say, leading a consortium to try and resurrect the professional side of London Irish as a professional rugby union side and get them readmitted to the Gallagher Premiership. And he was busy right up until the end, even with his terminal cancer. So ultimate fighter and underdog, and a man of many talents. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on Eddie Jordan in the comments section below. And yes, there will be a career video on Eddie Jordan coming very, very soon. But from me for now, thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on Eddie Jordan, the F1 Maverick and team owner, in the comments section below. And I will have some more content for all you guys very, very soon.